Hello, and welcome back to more Hollow Knight. My apologies for letting this playthrough kind of fall by the wayside, but I'm hoping to get back into the swing of things and get this finished out as quickly as possible. So now that we've beaten Umu, we've got two Dreamers down, there's only Hera. We could go into Queen's Garden and then Deepnest to get Hera, but at this point, I've kind of neglected the Grimm Troupe for a little too long. My hope is to get that started, and then begin a lot of the backtracking for the flames at this time. So in here with Willow, there's another Paliness seal you can get with double jump. And then you can just simply ride the Stag way over to Greenpath so we can get to the Howling Cliffs. Actually, I completely forgot that that also hit 900 Dream Essence, so this is actually a perfect time to go back to the resting grounds and talk to the Seer. As not only, I don't think I got the Dream Wielder charm. Yeah, I don't have Dream Wielder, so I'd get Dream Wielder, a Vessel Fragment, and a Dreamgate. And being able to set a point and return to can cut down on a lot of time, especially if you're going through some of the more lengthy dead-end rooms. So Dream Wielder by itself is actually a really useful charm, especially for one notch, as it makes the Dream Nail a lot more usable while fighting. Plus, it doubles the amount of soul that you get from Dream Nail and enemies. So it makes it a lot easier to recover, especially on a slower enemy that's easier to get a Dream Nail off on. That allows you to get a lot of soul for spells or healing. My cat's kind of sleeping nearby. So I don't know as to how soon it'll be before she decides that she wants to yowl for attention. And unlike most of the times I record, it is a little earlier in the morning, so there's going to be a bit more traffic. Hopefully there'll be a minimal amount of motorcycles and people honking. Already the desire for attention begins. So the next place to go is Greenpath to get up to the Howling Cliffs as quickly as possible. You could actually also go through Dirtmouth and go up through King's Pass, but I find it a little easier to just go through Greenpath since you're probably going to backtrack that way once you start the Grimm Troupe anyhow. So not much to really note. We'll go through here pretty quickly. But as you can see, Dream Wielder makes that a lot simpler to get off. And you get full soul pretty quick doing that. So once you get the timing down for the Dream Nail, especially if you're using Dream Wielder, it can be a great way to replenish a lot of soul. Because after all, I could kill this guy with one nail hit, that only gives me something like 11% soul. Whereas I get 66% with a Dream Wielder swing, and I can keep doing it. And this can be something that you can use at any variety of different points in the game. Like in the Coliseum of Fools, you can always go for the shield fools, leave them alone, and then Dream Nail them as they approach you. And it's just little things like that, which can be handy to try and recover, and all for one notch of a charm. So now that we're in the Howling Cliffs, finally, there's quite a few things to grab. There's a King's Idol over here. And that's probably one of the few things to come over this way early, since getting that 800 extra geo whenever you talk to Lem and sell it can be a little bit useful if you're wanting the extra early geo. Plus, there's another Wanderer's Journal over here. So if you really want the extra 1,000 geo before going into the City of Tears, this is one way that you could go get that, but you'd have to backtrack later on, having a lantern to be able to get up through Joni's room, and also to have, let's see, also the Dream Nail, so you can start the Nightmare Lantern. So you can also get that Whispered Root. It has quite a bit of Dream Essence, I think over 40. But it spreads the Dream Essence all over the place, to where it takes quite a while to accumulate all of it. And it's so easy to forget about grabbing it and just go into another room and then have to start it all over. But unlike Stone Sanctuary, this is not an ideal place to try and go without the lantern. If only because there's all these Vengeflies that will spawn in to make your life difficult. And even with the lantern, it's so easy to miss one, and then before you know it, in your haste, you'll then go flying into the spikes, like that guy. Although there's probably a pattern kind of like Stone Sanctuary to be able to get through without too much trouble. But usually if you don't have the lantern, you're not going to have the Dream Nail, so you're going to be coming back anyway. So it's just much easier to do it once you've got both. And so we get Joni's Blessing, the most useful charm, especially if you're doing Radiant. You definitely want to overcharm with this on Joni's Blessing on Radiant, so that you can survive double infinite damage. It's just enough of a health boost of 4 masks. As well, Desolate Dive gives you a shortcut, otherwise you gotta take the long way out, unless you Dreamgate or quit to menu. But Joni's Blessing is useful for fights in which you just can't heal, and you're needing something to help with the learning. But usually, it's not that great of a charm. And once you get Lifeblood Core, which is more late game, Lifeblood Core gives pretty much the same effect for 1 less charm notch. So over in here, up there is the Stag Nest. If you have double jump, you can just use that Vengefly Pogo and skip right up to it, instead of having to go through, find all the stagways for the last stag to take you there. Which is one reason to have double jump when you come up here as well. Although it's really not necessary, because you're going to get this Vessel Fragment anyway, if you're going for full completion, the stagways. In this case, though, I've got all the Vessel Fragments collected, so that's kind of neat. But again, that was only because of Fragile Greed allowing me to drop all that money into the fountain early. And if you mess up, you can always just leave the screen, come back, the Vengefly respawns. And so now we have to ascend with Gorb. And of course, Shade Soul works really good. Dash Slash as well. Because with Shaman's Stone, you can usually double hit. I'm not double hitting as much as I'd like. but it's really not that bad. The one thing is you can't dream nail warrior dreams during the fight. If I dream nail Gorb now, I'd just skip his dialogue for collecting his dream essence. But Gorb is an easy 100 dream essence. So the last big thing is that down here, we find our first Nail Master. Mato and his Cyclone Slash. So the big thing about this one is, if you get used to using Cyclone Slash, it does an incredible amount of damage. Of course, unless you say that you don't want to learn it, you're gonna learn it. After a dramatic training montage. But it does take some time to get used to Cyclone Slash, because using it will leave you vulnerable. So, if you just let it go, the attack button while holding up, it'll just do it very briefly. But if you keep spamming the nail attack, it will continue to do the attack with it. And it can slow your fall as well. There's not too many times you'd actually use that, but it's certainly a nice little thing. It's a neat little extra effect of it. So now, this part is where we started the game with the cutscene. If we just jump down, we'll go back into King's Pass. But if I do Super Dash, instead I'll end up in Dirtmouth. However, there is one reason I'm going to drop down to King's Pass. Because now, we can get up here with the Mantis Claw. And this is your other way. Well, one of the other ways. The Stag Nest is, of course, a third way to get into the Howling Cliffs. But once you've got the Mantis Claw, you can come up to the Howling Cliffs this way instead. So in here, you'd find Divine. The big thing about it is, if you talk to her with one of your Fragile Charms equipped, she'll eat it, and then you won't get it back until you pay a lot of geos, so unless you have a lot of geo, don't be talking to her. Hey, kitty. Hey. And now we find Chain Smoker Grimm, who's been smoking every day, several packs, for thousands of years. Now with Grimmchild, we can start the Grimm quest. One second for cat aggro. Apologies for all the mewing in the background. Apologies for that. She had been sleeping peacefully nearby, and I'd hoped that would last, but unfortunately it did not. So Elderbug is going to be a little upset by the Grimm Troupe. He's not going to get sleep for a while. So at this point, I really don't need Fragile Greed, so I'm going to drop that. I'm pretty sure I set a dream point back in Greenpath. So the first set of flames are in Greenpath, the City of Tears by the City Storeroom Stagway, and also Crystal Peaks. So this is an excellent time to go back and take care of all of Crystal Peaks and Greenpath. So the first thing we're going to do is tackle the Lake of Un and get the Shape of Un charm. Unfortunately, at this point, that Moss Knight that just overlooks the Lake of Un is no longer there. He does have some custom dialogue, I think, particularly with the Dream Nail. Well, with the Dream Nail, because he's hostile to begin with. So Shape of Un is a pretty handy charm. However, it can be difficult to justify the 2 notches, but being able to move while healing is a lot more useful than it would seem. Like, much with Quick Focus, it can give you additional healing opportunities that can let you make some bosses easier. It's also useful in the Nightmare God Grimm mod. You can use Quick Focus for there as well, for being able to get healing done, but I found Shape of Un a lot more useful with it. Because surprisingly, despite all the chaos in that mod, it's one of the few fights where you can actually heal, recover, and you're going to need it just because of the sheer amount of damage. So as well, I could have just Dream Nailed once I picked up Shape of Un and gone right back here. But I'm kind of bad at remembering dream gates at time. So our next stop would be to Sheo's room, so that we can get the Great Slash. Huh. Surprised that that didn't actually hurt me. Oh. Well, that certainly did. Okay, I did get Thorns of Agony. I admit, the randomizer play has kind of thrown off my sense of what I've actually gotten up to this point. So with Crystal Heart, you're then fine, you can make it there. I don't think you need Crystal Heart for the rest of it, though. As long as you do some decent pogoing. I think it's just that first one. But yeah, if I did Crystal Heart, I could get over this a lot faster. Oh, except for that part. Oh, I went back a good ways. That's what it was. Crystal Heart does have a thing where you'll go into thorns. So you do have to kind of stop it. So yeah, pogo the last one so that you'll make it over. So in this room you can just double jump and get up if you really want to. Or you can go left, there's a rancid egg. Which at this point you probably don't need. And then we're in Sheo's house. As he teaches us with the power of art. At which point, swinging with a brush is exactly like swinging with a nail. Can't wait to see what Sheo does when he gets bored with art, though. I mean, I don't know, maybe he'll get into, like, music or motorcycles or something. And Great Slash is the most straightforward one, so there's not much to say about it. But the Nail Slashes like Great Slash and Dash Slash will do 2.5 times of your nail swing damage, but it's not boosted by Fragile or Unbreakable Strength. There's also a Thorn Wall at the end just to try and get you. Team Cherry likes to do that periodically, it seems. Like, there's the Ancient Basin one, there's that room. I think there's probably another room or two. And of course, multiple ways to get this one. This is the room where we get our first flame. They're not very hard, especially with Shade Soul. The annoying thing about them, though, is how they move relative to your position until they make an attack. And Grimm Troupe's actually pretty good at taking them down once you've upgraded them for the later flames, especially if you're doing a low upgrades run and you've got the old nail, as while their health does change based upon your nail upgrade, even with an old nail where they take quite a long time to kill, Grimm Troupe does a very good job of taking them down. Even though Grimm Troupe's aim is usually pretty awful, the little fella deserves an ice cream for trying. So the last thing out here is the Stone Sanctuary. We just need to go and beat up No Eyes. No Eyes, the creepy serial killer that blinds people, and then after killing children, has their ghosts haunt everyone forever. She says a monster has come for them in the dark. Spoiler alert, it was No Eyes. So you can stay at the bottom and that will keep out avoid most of the ghosts. She teleports pretty regularly after nail swings. But Shade Soul is probably one of your best bets, because it kills her pretty fast. But as well, Nail Arts can help, because anything that's a big damage attack is going to work best. Unless you've got something like Quick Focus and Unbreakable Strength. But things like Abyss Shriek, she'll usually teleport mid-attack, since Abyss Shriek hits 4 times. So something like Shade Soul that hits once, but for more damage, is a lot more worthwhile. And of course, the ghosts get a lot faster with their spawns, but you can try and play it a little more safe than I did. But she doesn't have a lot of health, either. However, she's worth 200 essence, so she's actually a pretty good one to take out early. Like, if you beat No Eyes and then beat 0 in the Resting Grounds, you've already got 300 Dream Essence to get the Pale Ore from the Seer, which gives you your second nail upgrade pretty fast. Or if you're able to get things like the Crystal Peaks and Ancient Basin ore, then you're all set to get your third nail upgrade right away, pretty early on. Alright, so this brings me closer to a Stag Way, because the next place is going to be going to the city storerooms. And then from there, Dirtmouth. As from Dirtmouth, I'll be able to get into the Crystal Peaks route via the elevator, which you need Crystal Heart and Double Jump to be able to open it from the Dirtmouth side. That was handy. But yeah, Nail Arts can also be pretty handy there. And I don't use Nail Arts much, but they are very effective if you get used to them. So set a Dreamgate out in Dirtmouth, so that way once we're finished with Crystal Peaks, we can just warp back to Dirtmouth and turn in the flames and get the second set. So this one takes a little bit of getting used to, but what you need to do is you need to stop right before you'd hit the wall. double jump, and then get on the elevator like that. Of course, if you have Crystal Heart, you can always just come in. Where I found Cornifer before, you could just Crystal Heart over there, open the elevator, and then come back later if you're not having double jump. So that's an evil grub. However, I didn't really think about it before, but that's actually a pretty good way to fill up your soul with the Dream Nail, since it's a stationary enemy. However, the reason to kill the grub mimics is because if you're going for the Hunter's Journal, there aren't a lot of grub mimics around. There's this room, there's the 2 or 3 in the Deepnest grub room, and then there's one in the Colosseum, a Fool's with the Second Trial. And you can do that one over and over, but you really don't want to have to do the Colosseum trials repeatedly. So this is a great time to go back and explore the rest of Crystal Peaks for what we didn't have with Crystal Heart or the double jump. If I remember right, it's Deep Focus that's down here, and then we go up, we do Enraged Guardian, and then that covers everything. So the first 2 patterns are a little bit more wonky. The third one's really easy. I'm obviously impatient. Aha, there we go. That second one tends to be kind of weird. And Deep Focus itself is an interesting charm. For 4 notches, it's really hard to justify its use. The double mask healing is great, but the slowdown on your heals makes it a lot harder to use in, like, actual fights. But it's a wonderful charm if you use it in platforming sections, like the White Palace, where the slowdown is not a drawback because you have as much time to continue, to take your time before you continue with the platforming. I wanted to dream nail these guys. And... aha, there we go. But combined with Grub's Song, you're almost effectively immortal while doing the White Palace. If you combined it with Grubberfly's Elegy, then you will get back more soul than you're spending on heals. Since Grubberfly's Elegy boosts the amount of soul you'll get. So exactly like Crystal Guardian, Descend in Dark is really handy. Now the one thing about it is, although he's not demonstrating it that time, if you stay on the right side, sometimes his laser targeting can get wonky. Kind of like that. But it's even more obvious. Okay, maybe it'll show this time. Nope. There we go. It can get very wonky like that. Which can give you an opportunity to heal if you need it. But you get another Mask Shard for beating him. And that ties up Crystal Peaks. So that gives us our first set of flames. So now Grimchild will be upgraded. They'll actually get an attack. It does about as much damage as the old nail. Raspy Chainsmoker Grimm is happy that we've got more flames. He can now light his cigarettes and smoke a little more. I can't wait for Grimm to return for Silksong. Grimchild will become Grim Teen, he'll be rebellious, and be smoking behind the bleachers. Or I suppose smoking behind the benches. So now the next sets, one's in the resting grounds below where Zero is, one's in King's Pass, and one's in Kingdom's Edge. So, since we're in Dirtmouth, it pays off to just go back and get the King's Pass one done right now. So now he's got a new attack, which is that he'll have 4 flames shoot out around him like that. Very complex. So now we'll go to Resting Grounds, get that flame. Ordinarily, I'd use the excuse of being in Kingdom's Edge to actually getting that flame to get the rest of the stuff in Kingdom's Edge. But considering that this playthrough, I don't want to have an individual clip go too long, I'm going to warp back, beat Troupe Master Grimm, and that's where I'll end it. Also, once my cat had made that ruckus with Troupe Master Grimm appearing, I kind of closed my door, and so far she's been a lot less disruptive. Presumably, my headphones drown out background noise pretty well, so maybe she's been yelling the entire time. In which case, I may have to keep my door closed for subsequent recordings. As well, the 3 flames he shoots out, now he shoots out 5, making it just ever so slightly more difficult to get in easily. Yeah, I forgot the Resting Grounds. I said I was going to do Resting Grounds first, and I wasn't even thinking about it. It's the one downside to not playing for a while. Sometimes you forget the routes, but you kind of think you did it while you were thinking of something else. Alright, so one more flame, teleport back, and then we fight Grimm and his raspy smoker self. All the while the audience applauds, because they wished it was a no-smoking carnival. So as well, you can use this to get some extra soul before fighting it, because Shade Soul is so really good. Oh. Probably should have bounced on him. I did the other ones without much effort. This one's getting his revenge. So the only thing to note is that you must bring Grimchild to fight Grimm both times, and Grimchild won't help you, because since it's both of your children, he doesn't like it when Mommy and Daddy fight. Grimm likes making all his personal disputes very public. So as long as you don't hit Grimm, you won't get an extra pufferfish phase. However, you can dream nail him as much as you like. So when he does that, he's gonna die. You just hit him once, and then just pogo him. And he does 3 straight fire bats, so you just jump over them and then dash. A double jump will help you do it a lot easier. And when he staggers, you can get several attacks or heal 2 masks. Pufferfishy's vulnerable to spells, so if you want to hit him with spells, you can actually make the fight go a lot quicker. Although, you probably will get hit. The easiest way is to have a Bish Shriek, and then just spam it under him. So every time he does that, you can just walk away, just stay slightly to the side of where he explodes, and you'll always be safe. So yeah, if you really want to heal, you can easily get it off. So after 3 pufferfishes, he's on his last legs. I do like this theme a lot more than Nightmare King Grimm, especially with the applause. Of course, he can't be killed well in the stagger forms. I think it just brings him down to 1 health at most. And there we go. He was only using 1% of his true power anyway. Respectful bow for all of the show. Of course, if you dream nail him now before you talk to him, you'll get some additional dialogue. Which is definitely something that is worth noting. It's like with finding cloth in the ancient basin. If you dream nail her before talking to her, the dialogue changes from what happens after you talk to her. So now we get a choice. We can either collect the 3rd set of flames. There's 4 of them this time, and we only need 3. Of which one's in Deepnest, one's in the fungal core, one's in the hive, and one's above the tram in the ancient basin. Or, oh, and we get our charm notch now, which is an excellent reward to get. But now, or we could go talk to Brum in Deepnest, who gives us that flame. And then if we go back to the Howling Cliffs, where the Nightmare Lantern is, we can destroy it and banish the Troupe. However, banishing the Troupe is illegal in most countries, especially because you have to put down Grimchild, so don't banish the Troupe. Carefree Melody is not worthwhile. And now Grimchild sleeps peacefully right by us. So this is where I'm going to call it. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the time. Stay safe, stay healthy, have a wonderful day.